Sterling Holmes of FanSided joined now by Hall of Fame running back and backyard football cheat code, Barry Sanders. Barry, how are you?
Doing great. How's it going, Sterling?
I'm doing outstanding here in Kansas City, but I do want to start this with a little more serious note here because you had something serious just last Father's Day. You've had time to reflect on this now. You suffered a heart attack. How have you learned and grown from that life-changing moment?
Well, Sterling, I've learned and grown in a lot of ways, and really just understanding that even though I was very much unaware that I was in a risk profile and a risk pool that I was, and that it can strike so many different places at any time, and that's what we're seeing with the numbers. Every 40 seconds or so, someone has a heart attack or stroke, which is just astronomical when you think about it. And so many of us are impacted by these things. So those are ways that I've grown, and really just I'm fortunate that, I was able to work with my doctors and really get a handle on my bad cholesterol. I hope a lot of your listeners and people out there will do the same. Will have that conversation with their doctor. And in this documentary, it really shows that it does a good job of really profiling that, it doesn't matter if you're young or whatever, you could be, at risk. And so it's important to have that conversation with your doctor about high LDL-C level, bad cholesterol, and understanding the only way to find out is by having that conversation with your doctor. So yeah, I've grown in those ways, and also just, I'm yeah. So those are important. Just really being an advocate, an advocate for heart health, and that's what I'm fortunate to be able to do in partnering with Amgen in this documentary that documentary that's coming out, on A&E this weekend, and we hope everybody gets a chance to watch it and really enjoy these, or at least be impacted by these powerful stories.
Well, I think it's again so important. I mean, the most elusive man in the world couldn't elude this. I mean, my dad was running triathlons. He had a minor heart attack, right? And he was lucky. He went to his doctor. He was actually in a doctor's office. So for me, this hits home. Like, it doesn't matter how in shape you are, you need to get checked. This is very important. Again, I'm very excited to check this out. This documentary, The Making of a Heart Attack, airing on A&E. It's a very, very cool thing that you're doing here, Barry. I do want to say I'm here in Kansas City right now. I know you grew up in Kansas. Any part of you ever wish you played for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, hey, I love to play for this current version of the Chiefs. Absolutely no, no. I've always had my eye on the franchise, and it's great to see the success that they've had, and looks like they're on the schedule for the Lions once again this season. So we'll see you guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys this season. But no, I'm happy for the success that the Chiefs have had, and in so many ways, I feel like there's some similarities with the Lions in that, because there's so many years, so many generations Chiefs fans have wanted, a champion and wanted a winner. And that kind of the same thing with here in Detroit. We've been through so many seasons and generations of fans that did not see a bona fide winner, and now we're starting to see that here, and maybe we can lift that Lombardi Trophy one of these years, like the Chiefs have done several times in the last few years.
Yeah, it's not been too bad over here. But I want to ask you, how do you think the Lions have done it? On the outside looking in, it was a culture shift. It was Dan Campbell, who was a very unique guy. First and foremost, would you have liked to play for a guy like Dan Campbell? But also, it was the building of the trenches. It was the run game as well with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. What have you seen, maybe a little closer than we are here, what the Lions were able to do to transition into this now winner in the NFC?
Well, yeah, I would have loved to play for Dan Campbell, by the way, and because you see how he doesn't mind gambling, and he doesn't mind running the football, and but the way he's done it is a few things we've touched on. I mean, you see how he's changed the game in that, he pretty much always goes for it on fourth down if it's within reason. And that's something that would have been unheard of, 10, 20 years ago, right? And you look at just the mentality that he has instilled in this team, and just the great working relationship he has with Brad Holmes, with Sheila Ford, with Chris Spillman, other personalities in the front office, and really, getting the right guys, the right combination of guys in the building, right? I mean, you got to have talent, but you got to have chemistry. And you look at what Jared Goff has done since he's been there. He said he played it with a great Rams team that made it to the Super Bowl, but his best years have come here in Detroit. And you see what he's surrounded by. The best offensive line in pro football, right? You look at the receiver core, you look at the running back group, the running back room. I mean, you look on the other side of the ball. I mean, this group is positioned very well to have success, have to be successful now. Every year has been an improvement with Coach Campbell, and so yeah, we feel like we're right there. Where the Chiefs were just a few years ago before they won the big one. We feel like we have all the ingredients here. Just a matter of staying healthy and putting the right things together on game day, and so yeah, I mean, we feel like we're right there.
There's a couple of tall tales that I found on the internet. I got to get your thoughts on if they're true or not here, Barry. All right, I got to see now. Stories of you being occasionally checked for illegal substances before games because of how elusive you were.
I was checked during one game. They thought I had like oil, some kind of oil on my jersey, like baby oil. They thought I put baby oil on the outside of my jersey. The ref came up to me and he was like tugging on my jersey. And he said the defensive players are complaining that I might have some silicone or something, they said. So there's some truth to that, actually. Yeah, that actually happened.
Was that pretty flattering, though? I mean, in the moment, you're probably
It
not.
was flattering. But I was like, is he serious? Is this ref serious? But it was in the middle of the game. Yeah, that actually happened. Yeah, absolutely.
And apparently, growing up, you would eat a full loaf of bread at one time.
I don't, yeah, I don't know about that one. I mean, I'm one of 11, and there's no way my brothers and sisters will let me, take down a whole loaf of Wonder Bread. No, that wasn't going to happen. No, each person only got, a couple slices here and there. That was about it. So I don't know about that one.
Okay. Oh, so we're one for two then. We're one for two.
Right.
How have you seen the running back position evolve or change from when you played? Again, you were kind of at the forefront of the change, right? But then you got into this little lull in maybe the 2015s ish to about 2020, where the running back position was not quite the same value. Now we're seeing a resurgence. But overall, how have you seen the running back position change from your day until now?
Yeah, I think it's changed. I think a lot of the conversation surrounding the running back has changed. You certainly went through that time period where everyone was saying, how it's much more of a passing oriented league, and that was true to some extent. I always felt like if you go over the last 10, 20 years, even though it's been passing oriented, you still had guys like a Chris Johnson or guys like a Adrian Peterson, or guys like that who put up numbers from the running back position. And now you look at what Saquon did last year and what Derrick Henry's done his whole career. Brandon Jacobs, and I mean, the list goes on and on with. And obviously, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, what they've done here in Detroit, and has been very vital to our success here. So yes, I think the league. I think right around the time when you start changing some of the rules as far as pass interference or or roughing the passer or stuff like that. I think that certainly helped promote the passing game more. And it just made more sense to drop back and pass the ball 40, 50 times because you may get an interference call or you may get a roughing the passer call, whatever the case. But the running back position is back. It's on the map thanks to Saquon, thanks to obviously Derrick Henry. What he, like I said before, he eclipsed 2,000 yards just a few years ago. And as a former running back, it's exciting to see. And I'm certainly excited about the running back tandem we have here in Detroit. And the success they've had. I think these guys are just getting started.
Yeah. When you saw Saquon do the hurdle backwards, part of you is like, come on, that's the one thing I didn't do. That's the one thing. I never even thought of that. What was going through your mind when you saw that?
Oh, just a phenomenal move and presence of mind on his part. I mean, that's the kind of guy, that's the kind of player he is. I mean, and that really just speaks to like the season that he had, right? I mean, he
Yeah.
was so dynamic. He made so many, marvelous and exciting plays for his team. There's no wonder that they lifted the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the season, and hey, look, we get to see them just like we see the Chiefs this season. We get to play the Super Bowl champs as well, and we get a chance to see where we are, how we stack up
Yeah.
to them. So that's going to be fun. But no, yeah, when Saquon did that, I was amazed, as everyone else was.
Yeah. Do you have a Mount Rushmore of running backs? We can say post your retirement. From your retirement to now, four guys, who's on it?
Wow. I mean, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. That's a tough one because you got to put Jim Brown on there. You got to put Walter Payton on there. Um, you got to put Emmitt Smith, I guess, on there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if you said with or without me, or just a flat list of whoever. And maybe I'll go up there as well with those guys. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
go up
you're up there. Come on
there.
now, Barry. Don't be so humble. You're up there.
Maybe one of them could be kind of a rotating, image, but for today, I'll go up there with those guys. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, since you are such a humble pro, you always scoring touchdowns, acting like you've been there before. Now you see all the touchdown celebrations happening in the NFL. One, do you just like all the crazy touchdown celebrations you see? Or two, do you look back and say, you know what? Maybe I could have had a little more fun with those.
I mean, I had fun without doing a touchdown dance personally. So I was always excited to reach pay dirt. I didn't feel like I needed to come up with a dance. I don't regret that I didn't dance. But at the same time, I mean, that's how some guys express themselves. And I've always kind of been entertained by, whenever a player makes a great play, right? Whether it's a touchdown or not, it makes the game exciting. But I kind of say, yeah, let the guys have their fun
Yeah. Did you ever play backyard football? I mean, that was
all
one
the
of the
time,
first. You
all
did
the time. Yeah.
that. That game on PC was me growing up, man. That was such a fun. You were cheat code. You were
Oh,
cheat
good,
code.
good. I had a pretty good rating in that game. I agree. I would agree. Yes.
Very solid in
Yeah.
that one. Do you think we'll ever see another running back win MVP? Because after what Saquon did last year with CMC and some of the numbers that he's put up in his career, what Derrick Henry has done, I don't know. I feel like as again me growing up in Kansas City, it was Priest Holmes, massive Priest Holmes guy, right? And you're now seeing the way the running back again has been almost put down below quarterback, where even if a quarterback has a down year, they're still higher than Saquon in the MVP votes, which I find a little asinine. Do you think we'll see the running back win another MVP in our lifetime?
I mean, I think so. I think obviously guys have gotten close, and I think, great players shine on Sunday. And I think you're always going to have great players that are in that conversation. It is in most people's minds sort of a quarterback award in today's football, but never is a long time. And I think you look at what Saquon did last year, and I think a lot of people would not have been, they wouldn't have been disappointed if he had been a league MVP. And so we just got to work on a few of those sports writers or
Yes.
those guys making that decision. We got to work on those guys a little more, but I think it could happen. Absolutely.
Yeah, Barry, I'll do my part in that regard. And I love that you're doing your part as far as letting everyone know about how to prepare and hopefully talk with their doctor in regards to heart attack. Again, your documentary, The Making of a Heart Attack, is coming out this week, and you can watch it on A&E. Again, one of the greatest health threats in America right now. So make sure you go check that out again on A&E. Hall of Famer Barry Sanders. Barry, I really, really appreciate it.
I appreciate the time, and go to attackheartdisease.com/test and find out more as well. And hope everyone has a chance to watch the documentary.